Hey, John Ty here, and welcome to the Self-Publishing Summit. Got a very special guest this afternoon. He's a highly successful fiction author and novelist, as well as being the author of the best-selling non-fiction book, Supercharge Your Kindle Sales. And he teaches authors how to build their mailing list and how to communicate effectively and connect with their readers. And today he's going to be talking to us about how to get your first 10,000 readers and, importantly, how to keep them. And like me, though I'm not sure he's admitting this, he's a recovering lawyer, I believe. So I'd like to welcome our guest today, Nick Stephenson. Nick, welcome to the Self-Publishing Summit.
Hello, and thank you for having me. And just a note to everyone tuning in live, this is the joy of live programming. I'm coming off of a cold, so you can hear the croakiness in my voice. My 2-month-old son is screaming in the background. We've just moved house. There's boxes all behind me, and there's some glare coming through here, so I've got this kind of dramatic two-face effect going on. But it's all part of the joy of live TV, so I'm overjoyed.
We're going to roll with that, Nick. That's all good. Good. So, okay, yeah. I mean, that's a big topic. Before we get into that topic, actually, perhaps just give us a quick couple of minutes in terms of your bio, your background, how you got into self-publishing. And then we can get into the meat of the presentation.
Sure. So I've always wanted to be in control of my own career. And I think, you go through school and you go through university and you're kind of pre-programmed to go into a job. You do the 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, work for somebody else. That's kind of like the slot that we all have to fit into. But, it's not been like that forever. This is a very recent kind of development in human history, having a job. And for me, I'd always wanted to be in control of what I do on a day-to-day basis. So if I want to spend time with my family on one day, I can do that. If I want to spend some time working, I can do that. I want to be in control. So I'd always wanted to have my own business, but I'd never really settled on an idea or a concept that really appealed to me or was actually successful. I tried loads of different things. So I tried out letting real estate. I'd done sort of internet marketing, all kinds of weird stuff, as well as working a full-time job, until Kindle came along, and I first became aware of it sort of 2010, when I think a couple of the early adopters had been coming on really strong, and it was hitting the newspapers a lot. And I realized getting to write fiction or non-fiction, just getting to write something and be creative and actually make money doing it is like the dream job for me, because
yeah, and a lot of people listening, I'm sure.
Well, exactly. I mean, you kind of normally stuck between if I can earn money and be really bored, or I can do what I want and be poor, and with this kind of mindset with Kindle, you can do both. You can do something that makes you money and is real joy to do. So that's what really appealed to it for me. So it was a simple question of maths, really. So I knew that if I had a book, I could sell at least one copy to a stranger, and if I could sell one copy, I could scale that up theoretically to 1,000 copies, 10,000 copies, whatever it was. So conceptually, hypothetically, it all made sense. I just needed to write a few books, get them out there, and focus on how to market it effectively. So like most people, I think, you write your first book, you spend 6 months, a year sort of bleeding into a keyboard, putting your heart and soul into this book. And you finally get it out there and you launch it into this black hole of nothingness. There's no fanfare, there's no parades. And it was a reality for me, and it's a reality for tens of thousands of other authors.
It's resonating with a lot of people, this.
So, it took me, I think, a good 2 years of plugging away to realize, instead of relying on Amazon or iTunes or Facebook or whatever third-party company, instead of relying on them to do the marketing for me, I need to reach my readers direct, because they're my customers. If I can build up a relationship with my customers direct, if I can control that line of communication, then I basically own my own success. So if you're not building an audience, you're basically swapping a 9 to 5 job, relying on that. You're then relying on Amazon. So you don't really want to rely 100% on anyone. So
that's a really good point,
audience is the way forward. So I studied, ways that other sectors and other markets were doing this. I applied that to publishing, to being an author, and 2 years and $10,000 later, of trial and error, I finally figure out what I should be doing, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So that is, I suppose, my journey compressed.
Yeah, that's very good, and I think a lot of people will be able to resonate with that, be it perhaps different stages of their journey, but some things you mentioned there, which I think we have in common, as a lot of people wanting to go from the corporate world like I did and end up writing is the sort of dream thing, but there's a lot of practical elements to getting that, having a successful writing career, and of course the marketing is a key thing to that. And I like the point you made about not swapping. If you don't build up your own audience, you're sort of essentially swapping a job for a writing job where you're still relying on a third party to pay you. And yes, it's great. Amazon can bring you all sorts of traffic in terms of readers and putting your book in front of people, but there's so much more to it than that. Obviously, that's what we're going to talk about today. So let's do that. Let's get into this. I love the title. Is great. How to get your first 10,000 readers and keep them. So that's very compelling.
Absolutely.
So give us the high-level overview of why 10,000? What's key about that, and then take it from there.
So for me, I think hitting 10,000 readers was a big tipping point. Because you might build up we're talking about mailing lists specifically, because I always advise people, if you're trying to build a business, your email list is your number one asset, because nobody can take that away from you. Unlike Facebook followers or Twitter followers, Facebook and Twitter, they control that line of communication. They determine how many people out of those followers you get to talk to. And as we know, Facebook in the last year or so changed the algorithms completely, and now you can only reach like 10% of the people you used to be able to.
You've got to pay to play.
Which is fine. They're a business. If I was running Facebook, I'd do exactly the same thing.
Yeah, that's it.
Because it's a whole other kettle of fish, But they should be doing that because it's their platform. They don't owe you anything. But if you have a mailing list and you've built that up yourself, and someone said to you, I give you permission to tell me about your products and build a relationship with me, I give you that permission, Mr. Author, then that's a relationship right there. That's one person you've touched, one person you've reached, and you get to keep that relationship, and that's something you control. So mailing lists, email, absolutely the best way to build up that platform, and this is what I teach authors to do. So you can get a few hundred people, and you can really struggle to get that, and then once you get the hang of it, you start seeing more people coming through. You might get 1,000 people, 2,000 people, but it gets so difficult to build that up beyond that point. And getting to 10,000 is sort of a tipping point, psychologically and practically as well. Once you have 10,000 people that you can send the marketing message to, you can say, hey, my new book's out, go buy it. You can shoot up the charts. You can get into the top 100, top 200 of Amazon just by sending an email with 10,000 people on your email list.
Very powerful, isn't it?
And more than that is it's entirely achievable. It took me 6 months, and I built up just shy of 15,000 readers in that time. But your first 15,000 readers didn't sound quite right. So, and again, making it more achievable, proving to people that this is entirely doable. I started from nothing. I had no platform, no connections in the industry. I didn't have a huge marketing budget. I was just using whatever money was left over from the day job. I might have $100 left over. I'd save up for 2 months and I'd buy an advert. And then I'd save up for another 2 months and buy another advert, and it builds up over time. But, now I figured out what exactly you should be doing to make this more effective. I'm telling people how to do this. I'm showing them, I'm coaching them, and showing them how to do it. They can do it much faster than I did, and it's great to see. So 10,000 is just that tipping point. Then you've got that platform, and you can have some great success with it.
Yeah, and it's great that you've done it, but you're also doing it with other people, proving that concept, and you've got it dialed in, which speeds up the process. And so I know it's like a bit of a how long is a piece of string question, but if somebody's doing the right things and following the system, typically how long would you expect it to take to build up the first 10,000 readers or the first 10,000 email?
Well, like you said, it depends on so many factors. I mean, if you've only got, if you're writing, in a very obscure genre and you've only got one book, it might take you longer than somebody who has 15 books in a popular genre. It's all about how many people are actively looking for books like the ones that you write. And it doesn't matter what genre you write, there is an audience there for you. I mean, I believe 100% that no matter what book you've written, as long as it's a quality piece of work, there is enough of a market out there for you to sustain a living from your writing. You just have to find your readers and build that connection with them. How long it will take, it depends, how much time are you willing to invest, how hard are you going to work, how much focus have you got. It's so many variables. But, for me, starting from scratch, trial and error, getting a lot of things wrong, and it took me about 6 months. So
Yeah.
I'm confident that anybody who takes my blueprint and my process, puts it into place today, could get there a lot quicker, definitely.
Well, that's good to hear. I'm sure people would be pleased to hear that even making mistakes and sort of figuring out some things as you were going through that process, it still only took you 6 months. I mean, 6 months is not, if you're in this for the long term, 6 months is not a long time to have that kind of a resource. And as you say, it wasn't 10,000, it was actually 15. So,
Yeah.
it just not got quite the same ring to it. So
Well, exactly. It's all about the marketing, isn't it, really?
all about the marketing, yeah. So that's great. So I keep forgetting to switch screens here. There we go. So, okay, so great. So it took you 6 months. And so let's get into the system now. Talk us through, we know why it's important. We've got an idea how long it might take. But what is the process? It sounds a very impressive thing to be doing.
Okay, so any online business needs two things to survive. We need traffic, so people actually looking for what we've got to sell, books in this case, and we need a way to turn that traffic into paying customers. So in practical terms, that's get more traffic to your book pages, and then convert that traffic into an email subscriber. Because once you've got that person as an email subscriber, you have the opportunity, they've given you the opportunity, permission to sell to them later. So, if I could swap a sale for a subscriber, I would do any day of the week. So what I teach people to do is to get more traffic to their books, and then I teach them how to get the traffic away from Amazon or iTunes or Nook or Kobo. Get the traffic away from there, get it onto your website and onto your mailing list, and then how to develop a relationship with that audience that can sell effectively. Because it's no good, building up an email list of 1,000 people, and then all you're doing every day is spamming them, buy my book, buy my book. That doesn't work. You have to build a relationship first. You have to prove your brand, prove your value, and get people excited about your work. Because let's face it, there's 2-3 million books out there on Kindle. You need to make it very clear to your audience why yours is different and why your books are special. And you have to prove that to people before you ask them to buy anything. Otherwise, generally speaking, they won't, because they're taking a chance on an unknown. We're not Dan Brown. We can't release one book every 5 years and have it reach the top of every chart and then go into all the airports and all the bookstores because of this big marketing push. We're not that person. The 99.9% of the world, a regular average indie author, a regular average traditionally published author as well, is probably not well known. So the average person on the street looking for something to read most likely hasn't heard of you. So we have to make it really easy for them to experience our brand. So more traffic, convert that traffic into a subscriber, and you've got yourself the opportunity to sell in the future. And that's what I teach people to do.
Okay, and so I guess the key question first of all is, or two on this. What are the things you do to get the extra traffic in the first place, and then once you've got that traffic, what is the process you take people through, obviously very successfully, to turn them from a reader into a subscriber?
Okay, so first of all, getting traffic is actually very easy. Okay, there's two ways of doing it. There's organic traffic, which is free, or it's what we call sweat investment, I guess. You have to work and put the time in to get organic traffic. And there's paid traffic, which you just pay for. Either way, there is no shortage of traffic on the internet. This is not even a worry. It's not a problem. The main problem is, how do we convert random browsing people, random book browsers? How do we convert them into someone who's interested enough to sign up to our mailing list? Because let's face it, most authors, if they even have a mailing list, the way they get people to sign up, they just say, sign up to my mailing list and I'll tell you about stuff I want to sell you. That's basically what you're saying when you say sign up to my mailing list. That's not going to really resonate with people. So what you've got to do is you've got to offer them something of value, something that gets them excited enough to hand over their private contact details, give them something in return for that email address. So, if you're writing fiction, you've got a series of romance novels, maybe you offer a short story or a novella or bonus chapters or deleted scenes, something like that. Maybe you offer that in return for an email address. And all of a sudden, you're offering something. You're giving value to that reader, and they will sign up for it. Some metrics that I've measured, I've asked people to sign up for a mailing list and offered them nothing. And I've asked people to sign up for a mailing list and offered them a novella in return for that. Weighed the two together, around 100 times as many people signed up when they got something back in return. And these people are engaged readers. They're not freebie seekers. They're actually engaged readers who are interested in my books. So you have to offer something. If you're doing non-fiction, you can offer a cheat sheet. You could boil down your book into an easy sort of 2-page cheat sheet, or a case study, or a video series. Anything related to your books, offer it in return for that email address, and you've just got yourself a fan, you've got yourself a subscriber. And then all you need to do is get traffic. And like I said, you can put in the time, you can put in the effort, and you can put in the sweat equity, build up that organic traffic, or you can buy it from Facebook. You can do Amazon pay-per-click ads. You can do, pretty much any paid advertising will work for you if you do it properly. But traffic's not an issue, but you've just got to offer people something of value and get them onto your platform, and then you've got the opportunity to build that brand and sell to them later.
Yeah, and great point that you made about offering something of value, because there are so many things people are offering for free in exchange for email lists that you've got to put a bit of extra effort, haven't you, to stand out against that. And obviously, they're more closely aligned. For example, you mentioned a novella if you're a fiction writer, for example, or an accompanying video series for non-fiction, something like that. The higher the perceived value of what you're giving away, the more closely aligned it is with what people are reading your book for in the first place, the more likely you are to get somebody to sign up. And so, I mean, you gave that example, I think, of the novella. Any other things that you've tried and got good results with? Anything you've tried that hasn't worked, apart from obviously not giving anything away?
I mean, offering anything works better than offering nothing. Whatever you're going to offer, it will work better as long as it's related to your book. So if you've written a legal thriller and you're offering someone an essay on 19th century law, it's probably not going to work so well. I mean, an example of some other authors have had great success with. There's one author in particular who writes British spy thrillers, and he put together a very simple sort of 3 or 4 page PDF that was a redacted MI6 case file. So he'd done it up like it was a confidential kind of stolen document, with the blacked out words in the sort of manila folder sort of design, and he offered that, and that was brilliant. That took like 3 hours to do, and he offered that in return for an email address. You don't have to offer a full book. So if you've only got 2 books, or you've only got 1 book out there, you don't have to offer a full book for free. Just something related to the piece of content you've got out there already. So examples like if you write fantasy, you might have some great sketches and designs and maps that never made it into the final cut. You might want to offer some deleted kind of drawings and images that you haven't used. If you've done a thriller series, you might want to do like a chapter from the point of view of one of the secondary characters, like the policeman or something. The opportunities are endless. As wide as your imagination can take you. Non-fiction is even easier. You can just, like I said, offer a cheat sheet, do a case study, record yourself narrating the book, and offer an audio version. Do a quick video series, get in front of a webcam or an iPhone and just present a couple of chapters from the book you've written. Offer that. People will love it, and it's really, really targeted to the kind of people you want on your mailing list. You've given them something, but importantly, you've made them do something first. So they have to sign up to get something back. So there's a transactional relationship straight away, and they will then expect you to develop that. So when the time comes to sell them something, whether it's a promotion or a new book launch, they're not going to be surprised, and they're going to be excited because you've had the opportunity to get them really buzzed up about it.
Good. And I was just thinking, one thing you could, for a fiction writer, you could offer like an alternative ending or something like that. That would be quite a.
Yeah. Think about like
want to know what happens.
When DVDs first came out, people were so excited about being able to offer, stuff you could select on the screen. After VHS went out the door, having something that you could kind of pick different menus. All kinds of stuff they'd offer on DVD extras. Behind the scenes interviews and stills and anything you could think of. If it's related to your book, you can do it, definitely.
Yeah, and of course you still get that on DVDs, even if you never actually get around to actually.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and you talked about traffic, but the organic traffic, which is the way it's the sweat equity. You all sorts of ways you can get that, and you talked about paid traffic. Can you talk to us a little bit about how you like to get paid traffic, and again, what sort of, I know it's going to vary and all that sort of, but give people an idea of what you might pay for traffic and what the best way to get that traffic across is.
So one of the ways I love to get traffic is from advertisers. So as I think most authors will know, BookBub, #1 sort of advertiser out there that we have access to. So what we're talking about here is traffic, so pure numbers of people coming through. Nothing beats a BookBub free promotion. If you've written a fiction book in a popular genre, you can get 50,000 people checking out your book page. You don't make any money from that, but you're getting a hell of a lot of traffic, and if you've got something to offer, you can get them signed up to your mailing list. So you only need a very small percentage of that 50,000 to sign up for your mailing list. You've got yourself, the start of a career. You've got yourself something long-term that you can develop. And you can do a BookBub ad, as often as you like, once a month, depending on how many books you have. But let's say you've got 12 books, you could do a BookBub ad every month. You could get 10, 20,000 people a month checking out your book. You could convert 1,000 people a month, no problem. And then you've got 10,000 readers in 10 months. And that's without the organic traffic, and that's without doing other paid advertising. I also use Facebook ads. They're fantastically effective as well, because you can narrow down that targeting to, you can actually target one person if you really wanted to. I could send targeted ads to you right now if I really wanted to freak you out.
Look out for them.
I'm not going to, but it's that powerful. It really is. So you can really narrow down on your audience, and you can send them to your opt-in page, to your landing page. You can get them onto your mailing list for like 10, 20 cents. You can have a subscriber, and then you can earn money off of them in the long run. You're going to earn more than 20 cents per subscriber if you're doing it right. That's profit right there. So you spend 20 cents to get a subscriber. Even if you're only making 30 cents per subscriber per year, that's still, a 50% return. Where else can you get a 50% return? It's just, and it scales up. There's billions of people using Facebook. It scales up. There is no issue with traffic whatsoever. As long as you know what you're doing, then you will be absolutely fine. And this is what I'm teaching authors to do: how to get that traffic, whether it's organic, whether you want to put the sweat in, get the free organic traffic, or you want to pay for it. Either way, this is what I'm showing people to do. And that means you own your platform. And we're talking long-term stuff. So in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years time, that platform will still be there, and you can still use it, and it will keep growing over time. So it's really fantastic to see people getting results.
It is. It's very compelling, very exciting stuff. The idea that you can have that many people sort of following you and being able to respond to what you do. And I mean, we've only talked about books, haven't talked about any kind of back-end products or services that non-fiction writers might have. But of course, very, very powerful for that as well, from promoting anything else that you do.
Absolutely, yeah.
And in terms of what you're doing now, because obviously you've really got this dialed in. I know that you teach, you've got a course about this. What's the system that you've got in place for your books in terms of getting those leads? So I know what you're doing is working really well now.
So I offer everybody a free novella. If they're my fiction readers, I offer them a free novella in return for an email address. If they're non-fiction, my non-fiction, I focus on author marketing. So I teach authors how to build their platform, how to find their first 10,000 readers. That's all I do in the non-fiction space. And I offer my author marketing guys, I offer them free video training in return for an email address. So I give them a ton of value in return for that email address, and people can get results just using that free training. And then over time, I will offer them premium services as well if they want to take it to the next level. So if they want to do what I did and do trial and error and figure it out, take 2 years, 40 hours a week and figure it out, absolutely go do it. Or if you want to get the blueprint I use, I have premium training as well, but I'm not going to force you to buy it. I'm not going to spam you. I'm just going to say, you've done the free training. Here's the premium stuff. If you're interested, come join the community. For my fiction work, I promote my new releases and my 99-cent promotions, as well as other authors' books as well, because I don't run a promotion every month. I don't release a new book every month, So when I don't have anything to say about my stuff, I promote other authors as well. And I think that's really important, because authors, looking out for authors is such a great thing. The community, the author community is so strong. And I'm not talking about just indies, all authors. We're all in this together. I mean, I'm a member of several groups, several associations that feature both indies and traditionally pubbed authors. There's no rivalry. We all lump in together. We all help each other out, and the community aspect is fantastic. So I'll see a book that I know my readers will enjoy. It's not my book, but I want them to read it because I know it will give them enjoyment, and that's what I'll do for my fiction readers. So, it's all about giving value first and foremost.
Yeah, and I think that's that's a key point, isn't it? That giving value, and I love the fact that if you haven't got anything of your own, you're going to promote somebody else's book that your audience well enough to know that it's going to resonate with them. They're going to enjoy that book, and that's going to build up the goodwill, the reciprocity, and be very good for you when you do have something to promote, or you bring your next book out, whatever. And I've lost my train of thought there. I had a question.
I've got you so excited about it now, you can't even think straight.
Yeah, that's it. In terms of the results that you're able to get now, I know you showed me a little video case study not that long ago, where you'd got a lot of reviews. You'd posted something out. I mean, that was very impressive, because that was literally overnight, and you had the screenshots in there to prove it. And talk to us about that. I mean, you perhaps talk to us about that case study as an example with the reviews, but also in terms of, you touched on this earlier, but a little bit more about the results you get now if you have a new book that comes out and you mail out to your list. What sort of results are you getting? Absolutely.
So I think the case study you're referring to, this is one of the videos that you can get when you sign up at yourfirst10kreaders.com. So it's part of the free training. I talk you through the theory, and then I show you in action. So this particular video, it's like an 8-minute video. It's pretty short. But what I'm doing is it's a recording of my screen, and one of my books is up there on the screen, and I show you, it's got, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it's got something like 300 reviews on it. And I then switch to my other tab where I've got an email, and I press send, okay? And I show you the time and the date on the screen. And then I cut to the next morning, so 12 hours later. I show you the date and the time again. I go back to the book page, which I've left open overnight. I click refresh, and 135 reviews came in overnight from one email. And this was just to illustrate what you can do when you have a platform. And literally all I did was I said, if you've read this book, please leave a review. Here's a link. And a few other techniques that I use to try and incentivize people to click and get people excited. But literally I was just asking for reviews. And the response to that was fantastic, because you can talk about all of this theoretical stuff, but until you show someone this is actually what you can do in real time, it doesn't really resonate. So that's what that video was all about. And within the premium training that I do as well, I've got loads of other case studies, screenshots, graphs of what I've done to have successful promotions. And when I launch a new book, it can easily sell 600 copies on its first day, and that shoots it right up to the top of the charts, and it can linger and it can stay up there depending on how many other promotions that I'm running. And like I said, this is all Amazon and iBooks and Kobo, so we can send people to buy the book. We don't necessarily control how the algorithms are going to kick in, but we can understand how that ecosystem works. So if we time our promotions and our launches in the right way and hit the right pressure points on sites like Amazon, we can get much better results from our launches. And you can launch I've launched a book into the top 200 before, and it's only a matter of time before I can get into top 100, top 50, just building up that audience passively in the background, not really doing anything. Over time, it's just a numbers game. You will eventually get there, and you can get 100, 150 reviews on day one if you time it properly and if you use the right strategies, and that really just shoots you up the charts and keeps you hanging on there for a while as well. So it's great, that security of knowing that when you've got a new release that you can get it to the top of the charts just by sending an email. It's amazing,
Yeah.
It takes the pressure away. It really does.
I mean, that's great. Give us the URL for where people should go to get that video again, because it's definitely worth watching.
It's yourfirst10kreaders.com, and that's 10k as in 10k. First10kreaders.com. And some results from the non-fiction side as well. Building up an audience, it's the same concept. You can get traffic, convert it into subscribers, prove your value, and then sell effectively. And built up a few thousand people on that non-fiction mailing list. In March, I made something like $135,000 just from building up that mailing list and having products that they want to buy. And it's all about adding value. So when the time comes to sell, you're not trying to convince people they want something they don't need. Mm-hmm. You're just offering them the opportunity to get what they already want. And it doesn't feel sleazy, it doesn't feel aggressive or pushy. It just it's win-win for everyone. And once you've done that and you've got that platform and you've learned how to build that relationship, it's an amazing feeling. And just knowing that is there for you long term, it's amazing. So can't recommend doing that enough. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. And just a couple of points I want to draw out from what you were saying is, one is the fact that having 10k readers or more is great, but you can start getting results straight away, and you get that reinforcement and the confidence, like you mentioned, that comes from seeing your books enter the charts higher and higher and higher. It's top 200 now, soon it'll be top 100, and that's great. And wherever you start, you just build on that, which is fantastic. And also, because you're able to push your book up the charts that quickly using your in-house list, that also means you're going to get a lot of organic traffic from Amazon as well, or from the other sites, not just Amazon. And although obviously we're not privy to exactly how the algorithm works, the more people are buying the book, the more people are leaving positive reviews for the book, the higher it goes in the charts, in the category charts, and so on. The more people are going to see it, first of all, so the more opportunities there are for people who aren't on your list yet to buy it and, of course, get onto your list, which is fantastic. And it also is giving Amazon data, isn't it? Because Amazon knows what sort of books that your readers like, and so it can start matching. If you get several hundred people downloading your book in a very short space of time, it can start matching those books with other people who aren't your readers yet, and your book starts to show up within the Amazon ecosystem. So it's really a double whammy. You're getting all the benefits of your in-house list, plus you're starting to leverage that Amazon ecosystem for their organic traffic as well. So it's doubly powerful. So definitely, I mean, it is exciting. I mean, as you just said, the fact that you can do this is fantastic. Just by giving away some good free stuff, whatever that might be. And maybe in the time that we've got left, do you want to touch on some of the practicalities, not quite as exciting perhaps, but in terms of how do you get autoresponders and things like that? What do you use to collect people's emails? What are your tips for that?
Oh yeah, tech stuff. This is the number one stumbling block that my students have, is the technology, right? And this was one of the reasons why I wanted to put the premium training together, because I can just tell you exactly what software I use, how to use it, videos of exactly how to set it up, so you don't even have to worry about it. And I've been through it, doing all of this from scratch, being a solopreneur, doing all of this publishing stuff without any support team behind you, without any experts to rely on. I mean, unless you want to spend thousands of dollars to get someone to do it for you, it's a huge stumbling block, and people will often not take action because of that overwhelm. So taking that away entirely and just saying, do this, do this, do this, makes a massive difference. So I use WordPress for websites, right? Mm-hmm. Self-hosted WordPress. So I can't stress enough, if you're using WordPress.com, and you've got a free blog, that's maybe slightly better than not having a website at all, but not much, okay? Because you need to be able to control who comes to your website and what behavior and what actions they take on that website. You need to be able to track them and get them onto a mailing list. So I always recommend get yourself a self-hosted WordPress website. It's the universal standard for 99% of people out there. I think it's 90%. It's pretty big.
Yeah. I second that as well. Yeah.
And get it self-hosted, because then you can install, I won't get too complicated, but you can install methods to track people. You can install pop-ups. You can install integrations with your mailing list. It just makes life so much better if you spend $6 a month on self-hosted websites.
Yeah.
Just do it. Mailing lists, I use MailChimp. There's a few out there: MailChimp, Aweber, GetResponse. There's loads, SendReach. They all do the same thing, really. They're all about the same price. I recommend MailChimp because personally I think it's got the easiest interface, and it's completely free up to your first 2,000 subscribers. So the others tend to charge you like $1 or $5 or something, but MailChimp is completely free up to 2,000 subscribers. So there's no barrier to entry, so you can just get in there and get started right away. And they're great for sending out broadcast emails. You can have one autoresponder on the free account, which is the welcome email that you can use. If you want more complicated autoresponders, you have to get the paid account. Again, it's the same price as all the others. Use whichever one you like the best, but I prefer MailChimp. What else have we got here? So really, your website and your mailing list are going to be the main things. If you want to get complicated, so if you're doing nonfiction and you're using your books as a way to build up a premium service, maybe you've got your books as a way to build authority or to drive traffic to your website, where let's say maybe your main business is a membership site, or maybe it's premium coaching, or whatever it is. There's a lot of back-end stuff that you can use. If you're doing membership sites, I like to use Wishlist Member. For payment processing, I use Stripe and WooCommerce. Pretty much anything you can think of, there's a plugin for it for WordPress, which is why I always recommend using WordPress. People will use like Joomla and other platforms, and there are ways of doing it, but I don't know what they are, so I couldn't advise you.
It's hard to teach when you don't know what it is. Yeah.
But yeah, if you're an author, all you really need is a website and a mailing list. Those are the two things you need: self-hosted website, MailChimp, or Aweber. And we're talking $5 a month, really, as an investment. It's nothing. So once you've figured out how to set it all up, you're golden. You can get started right now. In a couple of hours, you'll be up and running. You get your first subscriber, today if you start. So there's no reason not to.
So, that's great. It really is that simple. And I second your WordPress, self-hosted WordPress recommendation. Once you get it set up, it's really straightforward to use, quite intuitive. There's lots and lots of great plugins that you can use for it if you need them. If you want to get fancy, and add whistles and bells later on, but the basic blog will get you started. So you say lots of options for your mailing list and collecting those emails and sending out autoresponders. But really, we're talking about two things: a WordPress blog and somewhere to collect those emails.
That's it. Absolutely.
That's it. And you can be up and running very, very, very quickly. And for literally just a few dollars a month. And you said you had training on that as well, on the setup steps of that.
Absolutely. So as we mentioned, the free training at yourfirst10kreaders.com. In that training, there's about 90 minutes of free training. I'll take you through the different ways that you can start getting traffic and start getting subscribers. That will get you started. That was where I was sort of 2 years ago, right? And then it's up to you if you want to do trial and error and figure it out on your own. That will get you there if you put the time in. Or you can invest in my premium training, which will literally just give you a step-by-step blueprint that will take you from start to finish, over-the-shoulder view, exactly what I did, exactly how to do it. And that's there for you if you want to invest in that as well and take a shortcut and get there a lot quicker. So those are the options. Whether you sign up or not, that free training will give you a ton of value, and you can get the first video as soon as you sign up.
Great. Well, thank you for that. And I say, before we round out, Anything else that you want to, well, really tell us? Anything that we've missed about this, which is sort of key to getting this process set up? I think we've covered a lot of stuff here, but is there anything that you think we ought to just touch on as well before we finish up?
I think the main thing is mindset. Okay, so authors in general, I think, aren't from a marketing background. Traditionally, authors are used to writing a book, submitting to an agent, and then waiting for a publisher to take that marketing and launch the book. Or, more recently with self-publishing, people will write a book and they will, self-publish it and hope that Amazon picks up on that and, makes that a success. Both of those avenues are what I think Seth Godin refers to, I think, as hope marketing.
Yeah.
I think I'm quoting him correctly here, where we hope that something good will happen, but we have no control over the outcome. And that's not what you want to do. Sure, there will be success stories. A lot of authors say the best marketing is to write the next book. Okay, I disagree with that 100%. Having more products does not make you a successful business. Walmart and Barnes and Noble isn't going to save itself by just buying more stock. You have to get your marketing sorted out first before you add more products to your inventory. So don't rely on hope marketing. Go out there, find readers, build that relationship with them, develop that connection, and then you can start thinking about selling. And once you've set it up, it can run in the background. So don't let overwhelm get in the way. Don't be afraid of technology. Don't be afraid of telling readers and shouting from the rooftops, my book is a great piece of work. You should buy it. You spent months writing this book. Of course you're going to love it. Of course it's worth buying. Don't be shy. Don't be shy of telling people this. You can reap the rewards. Just you got to really go for it. Focus, and you will get there. Definitely.
Yeah, well, thank you, and I think that's really powerful stuff. Is getting that mindset thing dialed in, and I just want to add to that. One of my favorite acronyms is MIA. Well, in the context of what we're talking about, MIA standing for massive imperfect action, and I think it's really important to give yourself, first of all, to understand that things are almost never going to be perfect. So I think a lot of authors have that perfectionist streak. And something to sort of be overcome. So give yourself permission to make mistakes.
Definitely.
At the start of the summit, the very first presentation that was due to go out live, I had an epic fail, couldn't get the technology to work at all. It happens, you just got to roll with it.
The perfect product is the one that never gets released. The perfect book has never been published. Get what you've got out there, otherwise you will never launch. I can tell you this.
Absolutely, yeah. And what's the guy who's the founder of LinkedIn? And jump in if you can remember his name. But he said, if you're not embarrassed by the first version of your product, you left it too long to launch.
Absolutely.
And I apologize for not remembering his name, but it was the guy that founded LinkedIn. Good. So excellent. Just before we finish up, Nick, just give us the link again for where people can go to get that free training, and also any other links to any other websites you've got, or to your fiction, or to your Amazon page, or anything like that.
The best place to find me is yourfirst10kreaders.com. When you sign up there, you'll get a case study which shows how I help one author take his sales from $20 a month. We got it up to $3,000 a month. Pretty quickly. We're talking like within 6 weeks. We really boosted that up, and the case study will take you through what we did. And then the first video will take you through some of the ways that you can look at getting traffic, and it builds on that about how to get subscribers. It touches on all those things, and you'll also get the links to my blog if you sign up there as well, and my fiction books as well. So best link is yourfirst10kreaders.com, and then you'll be able to get the stuff, all the other stuff I've done as well, through to your inbox if you're interested.
Great. And definitely recommend going out and checking Nick's stuff. He's got some great resources there, and some great books as well if you want to touch on the fiction as well as the non-fiction stuff. So Nick, it remains for me to say two big thank yous. First of all, for being on the Self-Publishing Summit in the first place. It's been great fun having you. And secondly, for giving us such tremendous information and such a powerful concept. Very simple, very elegant, but very, very powerful. And I think if people take this and run with it, especially if they take your training and take it to the next level, this is life-changing stuff. I mean, it sounds a little bit overdramatic there, but I don't think it is. I mean, having that platform of people that you can go out to, 10,000 plus people, and know that your book's instantly going to be a bestseller and it's going to start generating lots of royalties, and it's fantastic. And for anybody who wanted to, become a lifestyle entrepreneur and build that lifestyle and that business around a writing career, this is definitely something that should be checking out. So big thank you, Nick, for coming onto the Self-Publishing Summit.
It's my pleasure. I've thoroughly enjoyed croaking at you through the internet today. It's been enjoyable.
We didn't notice it was such great content. So Nick, fantastic, and thanks again for coming on the show. Cheers.
My pleasure. Bye.
Bye.